Alright, so today I'm going to show you a few smokes for A site and B site on cache. So the main three smokes that I like to do for setting up an A take on cache is one smoke, let's see, would be about right here, would be a little deeper than that. Second one would be about right there. And the fourth one is going to pop right about there. And that's going to set up a pretty solid A take. You're not going to have to worry about a highway here or a truck or anybody falling back to cat. And nobody's going to be playing quad from there, or usually not from here either unless they try to hide in the smoke. So really you're only going to have to kind of worry about, maybe somebody playing there or up there, or your typical forklift spot, or that side of quad. So it really helps with taking the site quickly and eliminating a lot of common angles to hold. So I'll go ahead and show you those. All of them are pretty simple. I play at 1920 by 1080 resolution, and my, let's see, view model settings, I'm not sure how much it'll matter, but if you end up finding out that your smokes are hitting a little bit off, then you might want to try setting it up how I have it, and then if they work fine that way, you might be able to adjust slightly. If you do have to adjust for different settings, it would probably only be like a minor difference, maybe a little bit more to the left or right from where I set mine up or something like that. But my FOV, view model FOV is 68, my offset X is 2, my Y is 1, and Z is negative 1.5. And like I said, I play at just a typical 1920 by 1080. So this first smoke I'm going to show you is quad, and it's really simple. You can see here there's this little dirty, I guess, crack in the roof or the side of this building here. There's another one here and a third one there and so on. So I use this first one and I use my thumb to line it up. I just put my thumb right in the corner there and then release, and that's going to land. It's going to bounce off the box there and pop right there, and it's going to smoke off like quad right there and a good bit of fence. I have seen people, it isn't too uncommon for somebody to kind of get stubborn and not fall off a quad and just kind of sit here in the smoke, but if they do, they're going to have a really small view of the site. So if you kind of come out and pre-fire that, if anybody's still sitting there, then you'll be able to pretty easily take them out. Usually people, instead of, if they're playing this angle, they'll just kind of walk around and play this side of quad, so that's still a place to check that you can't really cover too much, but at least you don't have to worry about that common spot or fence right there. You can just kind of, check that, see if they're playing there, and if they are, you take them out and proceed to take site. But so there's that one, and then highway is, instead of this dirty mark right here, you're just going to use the second one, and then it's pretty much the same thing. Just put your thumb into that corner there and throw, and that's going to land right about there. And that's gonna take care of anybody maybe opping truck, or if somebody's playing these toxic barrels here, or if somebody's playing fort from this corner, all of that good stuff. A lot of times, the main A guy will play quad or fence over there, and then your second one will either kind of play toxic or maybe standing around here checking if they come mid or whatever. And if you do smoke highway off right about here, a lot of times they'll just simply fall back and come up here to play cat and watch Squeaky and A main. So when that happens, it's good to have somebody else throw in a smoke for cat, and that's what this third one is. So to throw that, same thing. Basically it's almost the exact same as the highway smoke. Actually, you use, well, you don't really use it, but you go one over to the left of this dirty mark into this corner. So the highway one, you put your thumb in that corner under this dirty mark, but the cat one is just one to the left of that and it's right up in that corner. And that is going to bounce off the top here and it's going to come down and land right there in the front of Cat. So if you throw that and get this smoke here off, then if they try to fall back off of, you know, whatever they're playing around here and come up to Cat, well, they're also going to be screwed when it comes to that, because this will be smoked. So really the only thing they'll be able to do, if they even want to risk that, is push through the smoke up here and come down and play this corner. But then again, if they're in this corner up here or whatever, since everything else is pretty much smoked off, you're really going to only have to check here to the left, and you'll see them as soon as you come out. And you know, if your whole team is pushing out, which I would assume you're not the only one trying to take A, then you could have a couple guys check to their left, one check in forward and lower, and then the other one could just look up top and scan this little area. And if they're not there, then you know, you have a pretty straightforward A take. Maybe the third guy will come out and check to the right, maybe check here, and then, you know, check fence if they're still sitting in the smoke, and you know, check the other side of red here. But other than that, you'll be safe to plant, as long as there's not a guy, you know, maybe hanging out behind quad here or something like that. So I'll show you all three together one more time so you can see how that looks. So we'll throw quad first, and then highway, and then cat, and then all together. Wait until they all pop. All together, this is what that'll look like. So you know, playing quad there is taken out, so you only have to focus on that, and then highway's covered and cat's covered, so you just fork in those areas there, and it's a pretty straightforward A take. Once again, in case they are playing fence, you can kind of pre-fire that and then proceed to take the plant, as long as nobody's on the other side of red here. So that's my typical A take for smoke setups. If I have, you know, like a few friends playing with me that also know those same smokes. Before we move on to B, I'll show you a quick little mid smoke that I like to do. This is going to smoke left side of mid. It's going to pop right around here, and it's going to allow you to kind of push out, even if, you know, they do smoke mid right there. You can still, if you're quick enough, you know, if you wait around too long, then they could push up and be under vent by the time you push out or whatever. And that would kind of make this left mid smoke kind of worthless. So if you're going to do it, you got to kind of act quick if you do plan on pushing through a smoke, if they smoke it. But basically you're going to line up against this, I guess, corner here, and your crosshair is going to be on the top left of this little corner of the roof, I guess. And you're just going to throw from there, and it's going to come out, and it's going to smoke that left side, and it'll smoke off Z, and you'll be able to come over here, you know, maybe hop up on the box, see if anybody's playing white box or if anybody's playing Z, and that's going to allow you to kind of get mid control established. So again, I'll kind of show you how that looks if they smoke mid on you. So say you throw your smoke out, and then they also have their mid smoke taken care of. Well, that kind of screwed up, but if they do, you know, you can follow up with a flash right behind your smoke, and that'll kind of be, it's a nice little pop flash because they won't really be able to see that coming or react. Or you can kind of come back here and pop that out like that, and then kind of jump out and move over to the left or whatever. And if your smoke is still good and still covering, then you should be able to take this left side or right side, which right side's a little more risky because that smoke that you throw right here is not going to cover white box too much, and if you push out too wide, you're going to be vulnerable to Z as well. So it's usually better to push out to the left here and then either go through vent. I mean, you could take B this way, or you could just get a little mid control and see what's going on with white box and Z. But that's one of the ones I like to do for mid. As far as B goes, there's a few that I like to do. A lot of times, you know, they'll throw their smokes and hold you back. That's, you know, typical B main smoke. And if your whole team's pushing and you're making a lot of noise, a lot of times the mid guy will hear that and maybe pop vent and drop into checker, or either the B guy will call, you know, several footsteps B, they might be planning a B take, and the mid guy will go ahead and rotate through vent and pop into checker. And if you hear them break vent, then you know, if you have several guys ready to throw smokes, you could kind of pop one into vent. And what I like to do for that is just throw in one. It's literally just right off of the corner of this little wall here. You just take a step or two and throw that, and that's gonna pop right in there. I threw that a little bit too deep. No, that ended up fine. And it's gonna cover you if they do try to drop into here and play it from the corner there. But as far as the actual B-site takes go, for lower CT area here, this one's really simple. I mean, a lot of people know this one. There's a lot of different ways to do it. The way I like to do it is just running and throwing off of this left panel here around this area. So like I said, super simple. Just run and throw it off of that, and that's gonna smoke that really nice. For heaven, up here, what I like to do is I crouch next to this wall here. You don't want to push out too far to where you're visible. But you just kind of crouch here, and then you can see I've shot a few things on the wall here. Basically, on these 10 panels here, there's this little line right here, and then above it, there's the brick line right there. And I'll just kind of line it up right about here, and oops, and I'll throw it right here. And that will bounce up right there. Smoke heaven really nice. I'll try to do that again without screwing that one up. You can't be too close to the wall here because there's like a little bit of an invisible edge that will catch you. So you want to come out to the right a bit and then line it up right about on that crack, and then just throw. And make sure you're staying crouched, of course, while you throw, and that's going to smoke heaven for you completely to take sight that way. So both of those together look kind of like this. So once you get both of those smoked, you're good from both of those angles entirely. So there's one other one that I like to do, and this is going to smoke headshot. And if you can get this smoke right here down at the same general time as you throw this headshot smoke, then anybody that's playing headshot is going to be totally smoked out. They're going to have to move either onto site or push out over here, and of course if they make that move, then you should be able to take them while they're switching their spot up. But I'll show you that one. I do this one from playground. What I like to do is in the ground here, you can see there's this little like grayish mark, and there's the line here that kind of lines up with it. And I'll kind of get in line with that, just kind of stand right on it. And then there's up here, there's two little bolts in the wall. Let's see, I'll try to show you them. There's right here and right there. And I'll look for those when I line up this one. So get back in that spot there. I'll line up the middle of my crosshair with this top one, and then go up to where I'm kind of in the middle of this, I don't know what you would call that little panel that slides across there. So I'll line it up with that middle bolt, and then go up, and then a little bit to the right. Not so much that you're going to end up hitting this corner or anything like that, but just kind of right up to the right there, and then I'll throw. No moving forward or jumping or anything like that. And that's going to smoke headshot off pretty nice, and it's going to force them, as you can see, by the time if they try to move to the left, by the time they get so far out to where they can actually see again, they're going to be exposed not only by their head, which is kind of why this is called headshot, but their body on this corner. So if they're playing right there, which, I mean, not only would that be kind of dumb for them to still be there, but if they are, then you don't even have to worry about hitting the headshot on them. You can spray their body down from the side there. So all three of those together, I'll show you how they look. So you've got this one here, and then you've got that, and then that one. And when they're all set together, you've got a pretty solid B take, and they could still be, maybe playing from right here, or here, or playing, in this corner here, waiting for you to take sight. So those are going to be the places you want to check. If you don't want to smoke headshot for any reason and smoke be sight instead, there's another one that I'll do. I'll line up, there's 3 bolts. I'll line up with this middle one here. And then basically aim, there's this line, I'll aim right at the bottom of it like that, lined up with the bottom edge of the window. And that one's going to bounce off the top right on the sight and smoke off the right side of sight. And so that'll kind of leave this vulnerable and then back here vulnerable. But that's also going to smoke headshot off. So you're safe to plant if you want to, plant in this back corner, or if you want to plant safe right here. A lot of times, if nobody's watching lower because maybe you have it smoked off right here, a lot of times somebody might actually push the smoke and come across headshot and get you on the plant, and that's definitely not a good thing. So that smoke will help with that. So that's pretty much it. I hope these smokes might help you out. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and thanks for watching.